Mark, it's good to finally have you on. I think this is like 2 years in the making?
Definitely 2 years in the making.
2 years in the making. A friendship of probably 12 years now?
Feels like forever.
Yeah?
Yeah.
We got to pull the mic.
How's
we're
that? We're good?
Yeah, we're good.
Or should I move the stand around? Yeah, you're going to be good there.
How's that?
That's
Is that
good.
better?
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
There we go. Yeah, we've
You know what?
we go way back. Mark, do you remember the
there
good
we
old
go.
days at JBR's?
Yeah. Do I remember them? Yes.
Vaguely. Vaguely. We had some fun times there.
We definitely did.
Georgie too.
London was great. I mean, that whole scene in London at that time was something special, probably, never to be repeated by another group of people. I look back at all the people that we came in contact with and that entire group of people, and everybody is off doing big things. Like, you think back to that group and it's pretty amazing.
And there was a lot of like different groups that came together to make it special, right? Like there was like the London locals, like then there was like young people, different groups of young people. Then you had, the wild cards that would come in.
Yeah, well, you guys were the young people though too. Like,
yeah, we were
and
the
Alexander.
young ones at the time, yeah.
You guys were the young people for
Yeah.
us.
We were the young people. Oh, so throwing in all the groups.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying because you wouldn't, like, you guys got there too, is like when we got there in 2008 was kind of the rise of like EDM and house music, and it really took off commercially mainly because of Avicii, and that was one of the first big shows.
Do you guys remember Bloody Beetroots?
Of course.
Yeah, I up on curling. I don't remember, like, I don't even think I remember what they would look like if you put them in a room with me, but I still remember that was one of the first like big parties, and they were like them, Mastercraft. That was the kind of music that, like, I think it was in first year.
That was our first year, yeah.
Yeah, that was kind of the big like EDM scene.
I couldn't tell you what they
were
looked
the more
like.
popular ones. Steve Aoki,
Yeah.
like
Bloody
those guys.
Beetroots? I couldn't tell you if the guy was right in front of me, I would have
they
no
were
idea.
Italian.
No idea.
I know they were Italian, and they wore like Spider-Man.
Yeah, I
masks.
remember the Spider-Man
I think
masks.
I remember the artwork more than I remember the party. Like that was that time. Like Decker was doing all that art,
Decker, yeah.
and it was so.
Weren't you roommates
It
with
was
him?
so good. No,
No, I thought you
no,
were.
but
roommates as well.
I mean, him and I worked together for a long time, and that artwork that he was doing then was iconic. Like, if you think back to those parties, his artwork is the thing that I think about the most.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah, same, because my name was misspelled on like 22
No, that
different
wasn't Decker. That was Maddie's fault.
It wasn't. But I remember. I don't
Givon B
remember
with an
how, but
I.
I think like 4 times it was like I had the residency at Cobra, and I was like so pumped. And like the first time I saw it, I didn't even catch it. I think like maybe you or someone's like, "Hey, you think it's spelt wrong?" And I saw it. I was like, whatever." Messaged like the club, and they're like, "Okay, we'll fix it." And next week, there's like a different letter misspelled. I was like, man, like I texted this. Like, how could they mess this up again? So I'm like, okay, this kind of sucks because I want to put these up like in my, my apartment, whatever.
Your
it was.
dorm.
My dorm, yeah.
yeah.
Then the next week is missed. I'm like, this is crazy. I'm like,
Just
guys,
send me the art. I'll have it all remade.
Yeah.
and I'll get
But I'll
it.
Send
printed.
me a high quality
I'll never
file.
forget that. Yeah,
I think those name mistakes are, you always remember them, like for Digital Dreams 1 year, we misspelled this guy Matt Zinardo's name, Matt Zindardo, and I don't think that I have called him Matt Zinardo in years. Like, all I've ever done is called him Zindardo since. Like, it's those
stuck
things
with
you
him.
remember the most.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it was good. Like, that was. It's pretty crazy to think about, like, how much like that Western was always like known for a party school, but like that really, I think, transitioned it to like less maybe about the bars, like the, less about saying, oh, we went to the Seeps or we went to this, and it was more about the events that were like thrown there. Because I know people that are generations of people that have gone, and they bring up the different venues, right? But I think after the time when we were there onwards, it's like there was this party and this festival. I mean, like, even was it Block Party, right? I think you guys were the ones that really revolutionized it, and then all of a sudden there's a bunch of festivals happening in London, Ontario, of all places. So really interesting to see how, like, just over a decade, how much that
Trip
changed.
down memory lane, boys.
It's cool. Like, it is. It's crazy to think about, and I'll still never forget. Like, that wasn't just us thinking this is the truth. That like Playboy ranked Western the number 4 party school in North America. It was like the only Canadian school in the top maybe 50, which is pretty. Like, that's pretty crazy to think that it's just recognized like on that level, having that kind of social scene. So
Yeah, I think the parties were a big piece of it, but they were one part of a bigger phenomenon at Western, and that was the social education that everybody got when they were there. I think that if you just talk about Western as the parties that everybody went to and all the crazy stuff that everybody did, it's not giving it its like fair due.
Yeah.
Like, I think that the way people socialize there, that side of people's education that they came away from the school with is probably, the single most thing that they trade on. If you think about, like, in Toronto, I work with people who, like Jordan Swamney, who worked for me at Premier, who's doing really big things at TikTok. Right? And he's been, across a whole bunch of different things. And John Hibionata, and like, I run into all kinds of people all the time who either worked with me or came to our events or or just part of our social network. And I think that is the most important takeaway. Like, everybody trades on that. Everybody trades on that social network. And I think that that's the most important thing.
I think that's actually a very well, like you put it very well.
He's been practicing.
It's
had 2 years to prepare for this.
But it's true, because in a sense, like, that's a good point. I mean, the people that I even see in my business, like I'm in cleaning. It's not like a sought after industry to be in. Like, it's not like a bunch of Western grads are trying to jump into the cleaning world, but I deal with a lot of people in the asset management space and this, and so many. I studied with so many of them, and and like through those networks, you keep in touch with them, and everyone's either working in the corporate world, moving up, doing cool things at startups and all this stuff, and you can kind of see that network. Like, you can see people kind of moving and trading in that, like you said.
Yeah.
But even on the other end of it too, how much still at Western, it's evolved into people looking at it from a business mindset. I mean, we have a couple frat brothers that, like, they're throwing events, but they're doing it with the business side in mind, where they're going and, like, they're not booking like DJs. They are, they have the DJ or the local talent, and they're putting on getting these stages, throwing these massive events, and they're making good money doing it. And they're looking at from that point of view. So I think even that side's changed. It's not so much about let's throw a cool party, have fun, get drunk, and we're going to be cool. It's, how do we make this fun and keep this going, but also, make it into something that's bigger than that. So I think that
they're doing things that like you guys at Premier did, but has like kids almost, what I mean? Like, you guys had graduated, you're a little bit older. Like, even me and Moretti, like when we started doing it, we were at the end of our careers, but we always did it with someone. Either you guys were like the manuals and stuff like that. They're doing it as like fucking second, third year kids. Like, they're throwing 1,000-person parties, outdoor parties, $20 a pop cover. Like, what?
And even the way they think about it, I'm not going to share their trade secrets on this because they've shared some stuff with us, but the way they have like honed in on how to keep it going, where it's not just like, while we're here, we're going to, capitalize this year. They're planting seeds and trying to keep the momentum going and like foster this brand, if you will.
It's tough to do.
Yeah, it's crazy because every year, a new group comes in, and maybe Jim Bob's the cool one, and then now it's Jack's, or this event was good, now it's that, and this company had these events in this market. It's just very interesting to see people think about it. Not to discredit you guys, I'm sure that this was something on your radar as well, and maybe I wasn't like as tuned with it on the business side of what you guys did at the time, but it just blew my mind the way they look at it and talk about it and how they keep their brand top of mind. I think it's very impressive.
I want to ask each of you, from your London days, favorite event you were part of, favorite event you DJ'd?
Why have to DJ? I can be part of it. Typecast me, man.
Well, like, okay, you want to say attended? I meant like an event you worked.
No, that's fair.
Because you were only part of it as the DJ. You never worked an event outside of DJing.
Though the easy answer would be to say Avicii. The first time that was the first show I ever opened for a DJ, and it was Avicii, who a year after I opened for him was the biggest artist in the world. But I don't remember it well because I was
that a block party?
No, it was
Mansion.
Mansion.
Oh, a Mansion, right?
Yeah.
I was drinking like a Heineken with him, and he was just sitting next to me. Like, I'm like, oh, Tim, nice to meet you. Because I kind of knew
that was when like Bromance just came out.
It had literally just came out
a month before,
something like that.
My feelings for you was
his like big song
at the time,
and so that was cool. Data Life, it was either that one or Data Life at Music Hall. Yeah. We did Data Life, the Titan Bright Party, I think it was, at Mansion. Same basic setup as Avicii was, which was very cool because that was like chaos. But the first time I got to play Music Hall in front of a sold out crowd was Data Life there, and that was really cool. I mean, like, made my my ego pretty big playing that show, but it was fun. Some
Mark,
good
to you,
ones.
best party or best event you were a part of?
Like I think probably, the first tent party we did was with Dead Mouse, and I think that was like that was special for a bunch of reasons. The Avicii one was big, and I look back at like we did the Weekend at tent party the year later.
And the Weekend was like the second day, right?
The third day. It was like Steve Angelo, Dirty South, maybe.
Calvin Harris? No,
Calvin Harris was the block party after.
Well, Calvin Harris did the one for Kings as well. Remember Tony Ayala?
At
Music Hall.
At Music Hall
with
before it got renovated.
Yeah.
Like
yeah,
it was like
it just got renovated. What, 3 years ago? 4 years ago?
No, like it was when
17.
I think
it was
Joe DePace.
Music Hall in like it was like 2009.
No,
2010.
10. I was in third year. I played that show. I was the first opener.
Oh my god, 2012.
Okay, we got there in 2008. We left in 2012.
Yeah,
it was 11.
And Music Hall it's been Music Hall. It was Music Hall the whole time we were.
It never
there.
renovated.
Music Hall used to be one floor.
Yeah.
And it was like the back.
Wasn't it like Rum Runners or something?
Rum Runners was always the front, but it was like the Music Hall was just upstairs when it had low ceilings. That's where we did Calvin Harris. It was crazy.
It was always.
I don't remember it like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, there wasn't an upper floor when we were there. I think I went back once, and I went back.
Well, now it's legit.
4 years later.
Now it's like,
Well, now it's
like
a real
like concert
real
venue. Yeah, it's
Calvin Harris there was not. It was like the 1,000-person venue.
Yeah.
Because
now
Burns,
it's like 1,500, right?
Burns played before him, and then
1,500. 2013. There you go.
Okay, so yeah, we would have been there for the.
So you guys don't know. Y'all don't know the old school.
Oh my god, yeah, I do remember it now.
The old school,
original.
smaller.
I do remember it now. You know what? I remember it randomly.
I don't remember. It's all I remember. I don't know what the new. I couldn't tell you the new one looks like.
No, I know the new one
one's
now
so
because
nice.
it's sick.
I
Like I've been there recently.
Yeah.
But I remember I went to Splash Bash one year.
Yeah,
That was
yeah.
the party that came into my mind. The Splash Bash party. Okay, wait. So you said favorite was block party
I think those ones were
or tent party. Sorry,
those ones were the first ones like where we just went out and hustled, and like we had some great partners. Obviously, there was a lot of people that we worked with, a lot of teams that came together to make that stuff happen. Those were the ones that are the most memorable because it was the first time we stepped up from being like 3, 4, 5 night a week club promoters into being like large scale kind of, at the time it felt large scale concert promoters.
I love that you say that. At the time, it felt like it was. Now you're running, I don't know, 500 events a year. Like
it's crazy, yeah.
Tens of thousands of people, right? But at the time, it was massive. Like I remember even when we did Avicii, like again, 500 people at Mansion, not big at all. Made $0 on it, zero, because we're like our spreadsheet was like, okay, it's going to cost us Avicii. That's it.
Well, 100%.
We didn't know anything, right? Like,
well, and that was the thing with electronic music back then. It was that it was really the only genre where you could get a flat deal.
Yeah.
Like we paid Deadmau5 nothing. And it was flat. And like the next year when Avicii came, they're like, it's a versus 85%. We're like, we agreed to it, and we're like, what's that? And like
what is that?
It's basically where
profit split kind of.
Yeah, like we'll either pay you this much money or we'll pay you this percentage of the net proceeds, one or the other, right? So
depending which is greater,
whichever is greater.
Okay.
Yeah. So
we ended up
paying him quite a bit more money, and so at the start we were like, hey, we can get flat deals everywhere. There was a whole bunch of like entrepreneurial young kids. And we were just kind of running around hustling with like printed tickets in backpacks.
Oh yeah.
This is before QR code. Like
there was no
ticket
digital
001.
tickets.
That's it.
It was.
Yeah,
we got,
and it was shoe boxes of like trading, and then the guys would have it and bring the shoe box with some money.
Yeah, like
in it
Want Tickets would send us like these things with a hologram on it, and we would get all the batch of tickets printed out. Each promo team would get their cut of tickets.
Yeah.
And you'd go around with like a backpack and sell them.
It's pretty crazy to think about too, like the point you said about like it was big at the time, but like you're in your like early 20s throwing these events that are bringing, maybe a few $100,000. No, but a few $100,000 to
Totally.
be, you know, that you're managing at the time, and you know, bringing events to that local economy and creating that kind of that culture.
It was big at the time.
Those are big
It was
deals.
big.
It's also like it's not really, I wouldn't say a big risk, because the market is there if you do it right and you're smart about it. Like there's not much downside risk, but there is a risk at that age doing it, from liability, from is gonna work, did I book the right thing, to put that all together at young ages and seeing it happen in London and continue to happen. I think it's just it's so
we had
cool.
it was like we had partners, and everybody that worked with me at Premier and all of our partners, they had enough money to go make their investment. And I remember it was time for us to like all put in our money to like make this happen. And I like called my mom and I was like, hey mom, I need some money, because I paid for myself to go to school and I all the way through, and which is why I started throwing parties, was to pay for my school. And I called my grandma and I called my brother and I was like, guys, I need money. And
It's like, I know it's gonna work.
I
I'll
know
pay
it's
you
gonna
back.
work. I
guarantee
promise.
it.
I remember it like it was
But
yesterday.
the problem is they're like, sorry, who's Dead Mouse? What?
My
What
mom
are you
was like,
talking
what are
about?
you doing with your life? And like, it was this real thing. And they all gave me money and I put whatever I had in and we did it. And I just remember going to each one of them, and I remember going to my grandma and just like laying out $20 bills on her kitchen table, and her eyes are just so wide, and I'm laying them out and paying for them. And I think like when you say like, what's the most memorable event? It's like, we had to go through so much to get that done. We like one night we didn't have police. We had to go like politic with the police department to get paid duties, all kinds of stuff. Mike Manuel came through big time on that, but
Yeah, Mike was good.
we had to do so much to make that happen. I had to beg, borrow, and steal to get my my cut for that event, and everybody ended up doing okay on it.
Oh, I can imagine. Did you ever lose on any?
Oh yeah, so yeah, definitely.
I'll share one actually, and we didn't lose, but
Tell the fans we're still waiting for our money back.
that wasn't my
We
fault.
won't talk about that one. We'll leave that one. It's a soft
No,
spot.
ours was Gareth Emery. Like literally, either barely broke even or just kind of might have lost. We booked Gareth Emery through Pooplin, I think. And Gareth Emery at the time was massive. You know, I had the song was something Angel.
Children.
Children? Or something about Angel. There's
Well, probably.
whatever. Anyways, massive at the time. And then I think you guys or Rashid or someone booked Hardwell same day. And we're like, and this is when Hardwell literally just went from like mediocre
Yes.
level DJ to like boom,
Yeah.
#1 in the world or something.
But wait, where was Hardwell? Gareth Emery was at Music Hall.
We were
wasn't
at
he?
Music Hall and they were at Cobra. So it's like better venue, cooler venue. Ours was bigger. And I think like Durex Condoms or something came in last minute with like $1,000 or $2,000 sponsorship, which saved our fucking ass. They're like, we'll do it to sell tickets or something. We're like, all right, whatever, cool. So it's like any
Yeah,
ticket we
great.
sold was like half price. They would cover us the other money. I can't remember the deal, but that was the one where we almost, if it wasn't for that, we would have got our asses handed to us.
Oh man, we lost.
Mind you, $1,000 loss, like at that time, is your ass handed
Yeah,
to you, right?
100%.
You're like $1,000.
Yeah,
Holy
yeah.
fuck. Okay, now you make an investment.
How many
lose $1,000.
$2 beers you can buy?
Yeah,
you know,
man,
like-
man, that was like a month's worth of booze.
yeah.
Here it's like that's 2 nights or something. Fuck.
Yeah, we I think after that Dead Mouse event and after Avicii went so well, it was like every year the group just like chased those profits. Right? And I think that it's really tough losing your own money for sure. And we lost a lot of money on those events. Like everybody thinks like, hey, you can just do this and you're going to make a ton. Like there's so much personal risk.
People don't realize, so they see a good party and they're like,
Yeah.
oh, this party made money for sure because this party is
100%.
bumping.
Yeah.
But they don't know. It's like, hey, yo, to get that party bumping, we had to spend X amount of dollars on this. We gave away 100 free tickets here. We did this, and this. It's like, fuck, you can easily lose even though you have an insanely good party.
Yeah, and it's tough when you're doing it like that because there's no scale to it.
Yeah.
You're not like there is no next party right away. Like you're doing 2 major events a year. Like if one of those things flops
You could lose
or
your shirt.
both of those flop, like you
You're
could be
done.
done.
Yeah.
Like totally done. So it's not like the next day or the next week you have another event that you can make up for it on. Like you're toast.
Did you guys, either of you, when you were throwing these events, was it like a little yellow notepad of paper writing this stuff down? Did you guys do like P&L to try to figure out what was going to make money? And even
we
like
got
early
into
days versus
spreadsheets
later.
quick. Yeah. I think that like, you know, like I was saying, it's just like there was this huge group of entrepreneurial minded young people doing stuff, and we brought Rita Choi in really early, and she kind of took our like
Books.
street hustle mentality and made books and did our spreadsheets and all that kind of stuff. But I think it quickly went from napkins and notepads to real financial models and stuff like that. So, you know, it wasn't as like down and dirty as some might think. Like there was a real structure to it all.
Yeah.
And we were really forecasting how much money we were going to make. And by the time I left Western, like we had almost 60 people working for us at
I was
Premier.
literally just
Like
gonna ask that. Premier,
it
you
was
guys
wild.
like,
We had a payroll, like, and we had an office, and
Yeah.
it was like a real thing.
because I remember at Jim Bob's Wednesdays, I don't want to say you guys like kind of started like, I don't want to call them paid to party girls because they're not, but like you guys hired a whole bunch of young, good-looking women that were part of sororities and did this, and it's
Yep.
like they came there
And
early.
guys.
Yeah, and guys, like cool,
Yeah.
good-looking sport dudes. Because I remember it's like at one point I remember thinking, I'm like, how many fuck is this person worked there? This person did Wednesdays, that person did Thursdays, but you could still get into the bar for free if you were part of the Premier on any of those nights. It's like I'm looking at the bar, I'm like, fuck, like a third of these people probably work here, but fuck, like it's slammed.
Yeah, totally.
Man, that was crazy.
That was
Because
a
eventually
big
you guys
trick.
just took over Jim Bob's at one point.
Yeah.
It's not like the rest of us had nights, right? It's like I'm Wednesday Frog, Thursday Mansion, Friday Upper. You guys were Jim Bob's Wednesday through Saturday or something like whatever. I don't remember exactly, but
It was.
and you guys was it
Yeah.
Wednesday through Saturday?
Yeah.
And you guys crushed it, Wednesday through Saturday.
Yeah, it was
That
great.
was my favorite bar for probably my last 2 years at Western.
It was everybody's.
And when I was in first year, all I remember hearing was Jim Bob's the underage bar. It's all underage that go there. And then when I was second year, I kept hearing a little bit. I think probably maybe it was second year it started, but I went once and I'm like, this place is packed and it's like good music.
The back
It's-
bar, $2 shots
yeah.
or $2 drinks. Or
It was my
whatever.
favorite spot.
Massive
Like
tab.
I think I probably spent
Yeah.
the most time there of anywhere in London. Or any
And
venue,
the
bar in
platform
London.
on the beside the DJ booth.
So that DJ booth when we first took it over was this teeny tiny little thing. Like 2 people could stand in it. It would be like me, Derek, and this guy Dave Matthews, who was the DJ. And one day, like legit, we just convinced them to let us tear out the DJ booth. And I went in with my buddy Damon, and some other guy that works at the bar bought all the materials, and Damon and I, we knocked out the DJ booth. We framed it in and we rebuilt that whole DJ booth so that we could bring like the party into the booth. Like that was the whole plan of it, was that you could fit like 10 or 15 people in there, 20 people on some nights, and it was like, it was crazy.
Man, good old times.
Yeah. But still, it is the things you like, to go back to the point, like the thing you learn the most is at Western, maybe not everybody, but probably a decent amount of people in their 4 years. The thing they'll take away the most or learn the most is probably like the social skills that you learn there. I mean, I can tell you, I don't remember any of my courses. I took some, I think, decent courses, and I took the stuff that I liked and that I thought would be of value, especially someone who, you know, wanted to go into the business world, if you will. But the things that you learn, the connections you make, all that stuff, like those are the intangibles that you can't really get. And there's other schools I think you can probably get them at, but that's the one thing that I think Western excels at, or at least is one of the top tier that excels at it.
Yep.
And it's interesting because when I go back now and you see it's still similar, but it feels a little more chaotic. Maybe because I'm older and I'm a little bit more, I don't know if mature is the right word, but I see it, I'm like, was this really how we were? It feels
It's different.
It
It's
feels
different.
younger, a little more
Yeah.
like crazy because maybe the music's a little whatever. But then I see that and I think, you know, when I have kids, you know, I would probably want them to go here because, sure, like, do I know what's probably going to happen and maybe skipping classes, doing this, whatever? Yes, but the things you learn and the people you meet there, like I think you really can't put a price on that aspect of it.
I'd agree. It's not what you learn in the classroom. It's what you learn outside of the classroom there.
100%.
You know what I mean? Like I did the MIT program.
This is obviously, again, if you're not going to be a professional. You're not
Yeah,
going to
of
be
course,
a
yeah,
doctor,
yeah. If you're
a
not
scientist, a dent, whatever.
Doctor, lawyer, engineer, something
But
like
man,
that.
those kids partied hard too.
man,
Some of the
Like,
yeah.
like big time.
like the engineers,
Yeah,
Yeah.
big time. And the doctors.
or even the guys
doctors are some of the craziest people
Yeah.
that I
God.
personally
Well,
know.
do you think about one of the biggest like non-event parties of the year is the one after BMOS, the 221 or whatever?
Yeah.
That night where it's like every single BMOS student went out. What's the big course?
257?
257.
There you go,
is-
257. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Like, that party, everybody knew Frog and Jim Bob's and wherever it was going to be slammed from 7 p.m.
Yeah.
till like 2 a.m. because everyone went out that night, right?
Yeah.
Like, it was like very work hard, play hard mentality. Like, you know,
I mean, I probably played hard, not really worked hard, but
you
if I'm
graduated.
being honest, yeah, I did graduate, which is crazy. My marks
yeah.
got better. My marks got better year over year, and my amount I went out got greater year over year.
Strong correlation here, buddy.
I mean,
Look, I'm gonna give you a scientist to point that one out.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's true though. You know, you form those when you start to kind of get into the social scene. Maybe it's partly you want to keep up with it, but you also realize you have to do this. So you're, you know, again, maybe you are, you know, maybe it is the work hard player and you're playing catch up a lot more. You know, you're not bored. You're not just sitting there staring at books all day. Like you're doing this, you're like, okay, I have to get this done so I can go do this. And it's kind of an incentive that kind of pushes you along a little bit.
But I think it's also part of the idea that if you know you have X amount of hours and you need to get this done because you need to do that or you want to do that, okay, I got 4 hours to study for this today because I want to go out tonight and then I'll have 8 hours to study tomorrow. I need to make sure that these 4 hours today and these 8 hours tomorrow really count because I want to go out tonight. You know, Mark's running that crazy party at Jim Bob and we know that X, Y, and Z we're going to be there. I got to be there. Like,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When it was time to study, I didn't fuck around because I didn't have that much free time to fuck around. So it's like, if I'm going to study, let's make sure I get this done so I can still go to Frog Wednesdays, Mansion Thursdays, Up Fridays, and Jim Bob Saturdays.
Yeah.
Right? Like, to think about we went out like 4 nights in a row or you 5
my
nights
God.
in a row. Like, fucking wild.
Crazy.
When did you leave London? Like, I guess officially.
2012.
Okay, so right when we
Yeah.
finished. Yeah.
Yeah. So 2000, I started Western in 2001.
You started Western in 2001?
Yeah. I'm from London. So
I know
it's
you,
like,
but I didn't know you were that old.
yeah, 39.
I didn't
Wow.
know that.
Yeah. Crazy, hey?
I thought
I
you
knew
were
you
like
were
a couple.
older than us. I
I
just
thought you were
didn't
like
know that much
35. I was
older,
thinking you were
yeah.
Andrew's age for some Reddy's age.
No.
Wow, fuck, Marty, you look good.
Yeah. Thanks, buddy.
good.
Thank you.
Well, Andrew started in would have been 05.
05. He was 3 years older
Yeah, that's
than
what I
us.
would have.
That's what I thought he was. Yeah, I thought you were.
That was I graduated in 2004, and then I did 2 years of a postgrad at Fanshawe
what program?
in GIS and urban and regional land planning technologies.
Didn't
so
you do urban planning?
I did urban development.
Urban development.
So that's what I did at Western as well.
Oh,
and
okay.
That's what I kind of fancied myself as. I thought I was going to be
Little
a
did you-
developer.
little-
I know. Hey, I did my first internship at the City of London in the planning department, and I finished that, and I was like, Mom, we had just done Premiere part time, and it was Premiere Productions, and it was me, Derek, and Arif, and I was like, Mom, I'm gonna stop doing this stuff. I'm gonna do this like event planning stuff full time. She's like, you're ruining your life. Like, what are you doing? All this school, you're just gonna throw it away. And it turned out fine, but leaving London was like a big decision. It was, but it was definitely time. And I started at Live Nation in November of 2012, and coming up on 10 years there now.
Wow.
The thing is, and there's that idea of like in London again. It's a big small city.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like out of all the small cities in Ontario, and it's not, I guess, small, but compared to Toronto or I guess maybe Montreal, Ottawa. Montreal's not Ontario, but whatever. It's one of the bigger of the smaller ones, right? And you can only do so much there. You know, especially if you want to do bigger parties, you want to do bigger events, and you really want to like bring world-class talent, let's say. You can only do it in a place where you can fit it, right? You can't.
Yep.
You're not gonna sell out stadiums on a weekly basis in London. It's just there's Budweiser Gardens, and how many events that happen there a year? 10 maybe?
Yeah,
like
not
outside of the
not
nights.
enough. Not
Like,
enough.
Yeah, 10 or something,
Yeah.
right? Like there's only so much that a city like that can support. Here, we'll get into that, but
Every night.
thousands of events of all different sizes, right? Where it's like in London, again, you can only have so many. So I guess it was kind of the next chapter in your life where you have to move.
Yeah, and I think that like we were the first of all of the kind of promo groups to organize and to get staff and have a payroll and pay people to
Have
be
a real
like
business.
web developers and content
Graphic
creators and
designers.
stuff like that. And so we were like learning from ourselves, and
Yeah.
we didn't have mentors in the market. We didn't have mentors at all. We were just like
Figuring out how you go.
sitting around and talking about the moves that we wanted to make and what we thought we needed to do. And after doing it for so long, it was like, okay, it's time to go learn from somebody else. It's time to go have some different experiences and see where this can really go.
It also helps that, like, again, it was a full-on business. It's not like
It
me
was
and Moretti,
real.
we were
Yeah,
just
yeah.
a couple kids just
Yep.
having fun, and we happened to make some money with it too, right? Like, me and Moretti, towards the end of it, had a nice little business, and it was great, but you guys had, like, a legit, real, proper business. Like,
Yeah, it was
just
real.
It wasn't just a nightclub throwing company, or you didn't do concerts. Like, you had a full event marketing business,
Yeah.
right? Then that's the difference. A lot of, again, me and Moretti were good examples. We called ourselves event marketing, but it's like we threw weekly parties. There's a difference between event marketing businesses and typical nightclub promoters that happen to be 2 or 3 people with a licensed business in Ontario that costs $65 or whatever.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, totally.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, we had a number of parents who called us and were like, "What the fuck are you guys paying my kid to do?" And we're like, you know, like I just want to be clear, like, you're paying them and giving them free drinks to go to the bar. And we're like, yes. And after a couple of those conversations, we're like, okay, we got to figure this out because we need to have real employees who are responsible for something. Like, we had a group of people who were like the door girls. Like, they managed all of the payments and transactions that happened at the door. They ran a float. They had like a real job. Like, they showed up for a work shift. We had people who were like Lauren Chan, who's gone on to do so many amazing things.
Isn't she like a model now?
And she owns her own clothing line. She's in New York. She's on all kinds of stuff. Doing
She was in our resin
amazingly
first year,
well.
I think.
She played on the women's basketball team too.
Yes.
Yeah.
So she
was
was
cool.
she was
was
like
cool,
an
She is
editor
cool. She
on
is
our
cool.
website. And so that was her job. So
I
she went to
remember
the
that.
parties at night, but she was editing news on our blog.
Yeah.
And
Jordan.
yeah, like for sure. And
Claire.
there's so
Claire,
many
you
people.
know what I was gonna say? Claire's one of the. She did the doors, I think, at some parties. Because I always
Claire
remember.
did
I
a
still,
little bit of-
Yeah.
Claire, I'm still like talk to
a
on
little bit of everything.
Yeah, on social media all the time. Like I'm bumping her from time to time.
Yeah.
she was always the nicest. Always. Every time I'd see her, she'd be like, "Oh yeah, you're good. Come on in. Come here."
Yeah,
Whatever.
finding roles for people was like the first kind of step into creating a legitimate company. And it made, for me, it was at the time when like digital ticketing was coming into play. Online marketing was a thing. Like Facebook was just
Facebook ads
coming
probably
in.
just came
There
out.
weren't even ads then. It was just like
The JavaScript to copy paste all. Remember
100%.
those?
We, yeah, totally. We paid somebody. It was literally their job to go through and to message everybody who had clicked attend on an event, and they messaged them to make sure that they had like guest list, that they had bottle service, if they were like coming for a birthday. Did they need transportation? Remember we were doing like limos
yeah.
and buses and stuff
Yeah.
like that. Like, we literally had somebody, and that's all that they did. And Facebook made us so much money then. So we were like coming up with all these tactics. So when I got to Live Nation, I had this like whole playbook that they had never seen before. And I had an understanding of,
Because they were that like big corporate mentality where it's like you came like more grassroots.
well, and I went into Electronic Nation. So I first started doing all the dance parties, and Digital Dreams was my first event. Actually, my first event was Burr Winter Music Festival.
Yes.
I
At
started
Ontario
in
Place,
November.
right?
They're like, this is coming in February. And I was like, shit, like, okay, let's get going on that. Plus we had Dreams was already on sale.
Yeah.
And,
Because I remember when you started working there, you invited me to the party at the Thompson when you guys, I can't remember what you announced. I guess it was like the lineup for Dreams or something. And like you
Yeah.
had the little, the Vitali necklace
Yeah,
with the
yeah.
little astronaut. I still have it somewhere.
That was big when
That
we
was-
started doing that stuff. Yeah.
So what was, okay, first couple big events in Toronto was Burr, Digital Dreams, that. Then when did it transition more from Electronic Nation to Live Nation and doing kind of...
Wait, let's back up a second. Let's talk about Digital Dreams first.
Yeah. For
That
sure.
was the first Digital Dreams. One of the best festivals I think I've ever been to. Just because it was that first like really big one in Toronto,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I still remember. I
Well,
think
Veld
it
was like a month after too, right? But Digital Dreams was way better.
Dreams
So
was the first
Dreams-
announced though, I think.
Dreams was a year
The year before.
So there was 1 year before Valve
because it was the first
started.
one, yeah. And I think people realized quickly that there's a market for this year, because I recall that the next year they had it, but that first one, I think, because it was in the parking lot. No, it was actually in Ontario Place. It was on the beach, and
It was on the other side.
Yeah.
It was like
Where Trillium Park is,
Trillium
yeah.
Park is.
yeah, that, and the lineup I remember was really good. That was a great festival.
That was wild.
Yeah. And I just think
Good
the
memories there.
the location too. Nothing against Vel. They've done a great job of keeping it going and bringing in diverse talent and stuff. And I think making it broader than just the EDM. But still, I remember. I believe I went that first year there. I don't think it compared. I don't think it didn't compare to that first year of Digital Dreams, because it was downtown, like you see the skyline, all those things. I just think that was it was crazy. It was a really good festival, well run and everything.
They all needed my password. I'm like, trying to mouth because I don't want to disrupt the conversation here.
Yeah, Digital Dreams was this like foray into electronic music that Live Nation was doing at the time, and they started off by creating Electronic Nation before they got into the whole mentality of just like buying other festivals and buying festival producers. So the first shot at it was to build an electronic music arm, and that's what I was brought into to be the marketing manager for. That's what I started doing. So
Wow. What was that like in the early days there?
it was pretty crazy.
Yeah.
It was it was crazy, but it was just so different from what Live Nation's core business was. So there was a lot of a lot of being misunderstood about what was going on, but it was also like definitely a little wild west. So
I was
there was
just
a lot
gonna
of
say
cowboy,
that.
it was definitely different. A lot of stuff that went on back then wouldn't go on now. Just Live Nation as a whole has evolved so much. It's so much more corporate, and the way that they approach things is just different. Again, it was like I feel like I was a part of a time that's probably never to be repeated again. But it's all part of like, it's all another stone. It's all another like part of my journey that is equally as important.
Yeah, that's crazy. What you mentioned that Live Nation is kind of just more buying festivals and buying festival producers. What festivals have they bought? Like, are you allowed to talk about that, or what,
like Live Nation in general? Like Live Nation owns or is partners with like Lollapalooza and the guys at C3.
Okay.
Like pretty much any major festival that you think of.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Outside of.
Well, because I think you guys eventually partnered with Veld, right?
Yeah, so we've got a long-standing relationship with Talal and the team at Inc. And that really came out of like when Electronic Nation went away, when they were like, "Hey, this is just not what our strategy is anymore." And I moved from Electronic Nation to Live Nation proper. That's when like we developed a relationship with Inc. and we've got a long-standing relationship with Evenco. So we had started Il Sonique with them. But I mean, Live Nation is partners at Escapade, and we're partners with, more formally with Evenco, and so we're in the mix on like everything. And there's way more festivals in Western Canada than there are in Eastern Canada, because we have the Budweiser stage, which is so prolific at, it's 80, 90 shows a year, and all of the best talent is coming through there. So it's much more important to have festivals on, or it's much more, it's much easier to have festivals on Western Canada than it is in Eastern Canada, because we're already set.
Yeah.
We're already set.
Do you guys do anything with Stampede or anything like that, or?
We do some, Stampede's its own thing. I think we do a thing called Badlands with them. It's kind of off-site programming. But I kind of like over the last few years, I've fallen out of the festival stuff and moved over to history, and so I'm like I know mostly what we're doing in festival space, but not as much as I did. I used to be so up in it.
Yeah. Now your world is basically like that. That's your project. That's your baby. That's like your kind of.
Yeah, it was like you can either do one or the other. You can either work on the festivals or you can work on history, and history is just such an amazing project. It's
What kind of nudge? Maybe not nudge you or pushed you, thrust you, whatever. What made you chase that path rather than
the festival stuff is just like it's just such a different animal.
Yeah, we're good.
Oh. You good? Oh, okay. Sorry,
Yeah.
like freaked out over this. Sorry. I thought she like deleted something.
Oh, we're
She
good.
did something. No. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Festivals are such a different animal. And I had done them for, 7 years at Live Nation. It was time to make a change, and that's the best thing about Live Nation. You can do so many different things. You're like, I really think that this is interesting, and if you've got an affinity for it, and you
can be on that kind of festival network, or you can maybe do. I love the smaller shows, the 300 to 500 person shows. Let me jump into that.
Yeah, and
there's obviously history, 2,500 people.
Yep.
Give or take.
Yep. 2,500. There you go.
2,500 people
Perfect.
shows and they see everyone. It's not just hip hop. It's not just EDM. It's everybody in between.
Everybody. Yeah, and I think with the festival stuff, in Ontario, there isn't that broad spectrum. It's like Dreams, Veld is dance music, Escapades dance music, Il Sonique we were doing is dance music. So it's kind of what we've been doing here. Moving over to history was just kind of the next step in the evolution of things.
Well, I feel like history is that venue too, where it's like the people that play there now, within a year, they're going to be doing the Budweiser stages or stuff like. You see someone like Bob Moses. I don't think we'll see someone like Bob Moses at a venue like that size ever again, because next year they're going to be on to
like Echo Beach or
yeah, exactly, right, like Lil Tecca.
Dude, that was that was such a good
wild.
So,
Again, but even someone like that, like after seeing a show like that, it's like I don't think he'll be in a venue like this next year.
No.
I think he'll be at the Budweiser, the Echo Beaches, I don't know, whatever the next stage up from that is. Or he'll be opening for another rapper at ACC or something.
Well, he's playing on Rolling Loud.
There you go. All right. So,
Yeah.
Are you guys part of Rolling Loud?
Yeah.
Okay. Obviously.
Yeah, so Live Nation's a partner with Rolling Loud as well. So we're producing the Toronto event.
Okay.
So that'll be big.
Yeah,
But so Ricky came to Little Tecca at History.
I love you say little.
Little Tecca.
Lil.
I feel too old to say Little Tecca, and we were having a great time, and I think we were doing a tour, and we found ourselves upstairs, and we're both looking out over the crowd, and it's bananas.
Wild.
It was so wild, and then something happened, and he was getting ready to drop another track, and you could feel the crowd just kind of rearrange itself, and a bunch of mosh pits opened up. And we both look down, both of us pull our phones out, and we're standing 10 feet apart. And we're not even beside each other at this part. We've just kind of drifted away. And we both have our phones out because you can feel it's going to go crazy. And we look down, and this kid spreads out this mosh pit. And then the beat drops, and he backflips in the mosh pit, perfectly backflips, and then everybody collapses in and goes crazy. And we both got our phone out. We make eye contact from 10 feet away, and we're both that was the craziest thing.
And actually, for a good plug for history, if you were going on a date night, you can get half bottles, Mickey's, in the VIP section there. So great date night spot.
It's a great date night spot.
It is. It honestly really is. I went on a date there. Actually, Bob Moses was a date.
Yeah.
Had a great night. Yeah. I don't know why you're laughing.
I don't know why I'm laughing either. I just find that funny.
I love the plug. It's great.
Hot tip. You can go on a date night.
Yeah.
It's it's really turned into quite a date night spot.
Because again, you have so many different artists. It's not like it's just a venue for young people or a venue for older people or a venue for rap lovers or for EDM lovers. It's literally, I think probably every 2 weeks there's a concert there for almost any kind of music lover, right?
Yeah.
You'll find something for everyone.
Yeah, it's the whole thing around history has been amazing. it's really been this like beacon for Canadian talent, and we've had so many Canadian artists come through already, and we've got so many planned for the rest of the year. But it is really something for everybody. And when we were going through the meetings and the public kind of discussions with the community, who are a tough community, I think that they really thought, you know, with having Drake as a partner, that this was going to be like a not awesome spot for them within their community. But, you know, I think that since we've been open, we've been able to change a lot of those minds. It's amazing. The restaurants, every restaurant around is full. Every night we have a show, and we're going to have like 200 shows there this year. So that's a lot of the year with shows. And there definitely is something for everybody, from, you know, Wallows last weekend. We had DeVito there the week before. You know, there's like your indie bands, your kind of classic rock. We've got the Tea Party and Moist playing there this weekend. And the 2 days before them is Two Friends for 2 nights. So, you know, it's really something for everybody. It's been like the project of a lifetime to work on.
Unreal.
Are you happy personally with the place that it's at, and did that materialize right away once it opened? It came to life, and you were like, everything was kind of perfect. You nailed it on the head, or was there still some growing pains? And I guess from then to now, how do you feel about it?
Yeah, I'm super proud of it. It's been like a 4-year project, and we were talking earlier, like when you think about what COVID was, a show just before COVID was 2.5 years ago, you know? So we started working on it a long time before that. I think what we thought it was going to be and what it is pretty close. And it continues to just like evolve and get better and better. It's got a world-class team, and, you know, like I said, it's been the project of a lifetime. We spent so much time being, you know, the purveyors of bad news, canceling shows for so long, like doing all kinds of stuff, having all kinds of shitty conversations, like, you know, during that whole time, canceling, moving, rescheduling, refunding.
Yeah, because you guys opened up for a little bit.
Yeah, we did.
Like during late pandemic, I guess, or late 2021.
Yeah, there was a real push the whole way through. And then obviously, like, you know, boats couldn't come across from Europe. Like, all of the stone on the front was supposed to come from Spain or Portugal, and it got stuck on a boat, so we had to source locally. Like, all kinds of stuff like that. Every day, though, we got to like work on moving a project forward at a time when everything was stopping and rewinding and refunding. We got to show up and work on a project that was like picking out like what the textures were going to be, how are fans going to want to come back, like was everything going to need to be cashless, and if so, how is cashless going to operate? We had all these data points about like fans would be more likely to buy merch if it was pre-packaged, so like what would that strategy look like? We got to like think and work through all kinds of scenarios. So when it came time to open, we had been thinking and talking about all of these things for so long and in such detail, it just rolled. Like, it felt like a lot of work, but it didn't feel like a festival. It felt like its own thing. Festivals are super laborious. You're like there from 7 a.m. till 2 a.m. You get a little bit of sleep, and leading up to it, it's like so much effort to get them going. This was that effort, but it just felt different. It's something like magical about that room.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Really happy to hear. How many, if I can ask, like, what's the team like there? How many of you worked on the project and are like currently kind of dedicated to this project going forward?
I mean, I'm the booking manager in the venue, so I spend a lot of time like booking the events, working with the other promoters, making sure the room's full, Tetrising events in, like moving things around, making sure that we can get the shows that we want on the dates we want them on. But there's like a full team of people. Like, there's a general manager, and he's Steven, and he's got a great team of people. who manage the day-to-day operations of it. But there's, on any given show, there's your promoter, your marketer, your finance person, your contracts person, your production manager, your runner. There's 4 different security companies in there. There's 20 bartenders.
Security companies.
Yeah, totally.
That's crazy. Is that,
like private security for
there's
the
just
artists,
like different
outside security.
Oh, okay.
There's venue security. There's like front of house security. There's back of house security, and then there's the private security.
Interesting.
So
I didn't know front house and back house.
Is that normal to do that? Like is it like to mitigate risk? Is it because you need like?
Different venues would have different systems. It's just the way ours is.
Okay.
So
interesting.
It's we found like obviously we have such a high profile partner in the room. It requires you to think about things and operate things in a particular way.
Yeah, that's
makes
fair.
sense. What are there any events you're super excited for there in the upcoming months, or weeks, or months? I know you're excited for all of them, obviously.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. I mean, the DeVito show that just played was awesome. That was, it's just such an amazing feeling to do that show. Like Claro, I'm really excited about. I've been working on her, all of her shows, and to see her kind of grow into doing 2 histories is great. Coffee coming up. Moved from earlier in the year due to some, all the normal stuff. In July, those are going to be great. Tash Sultana coming up. In August, there's a huge stretch of shows. We're doing a Sean Paul. We've got Tash Sultana. We've got Blast.
I think Kid Leroy too. Someone told me about that. Yeah.
Same. So that whole one. Week, it's like 2 beaches, 2 Kid Leroys. We've just we put up Muse in October. We just sold out 3 Giveon shows in September. We've got a big
That's
fall
crazy. 3
planned
shows
like that, like crazy.
Wow.
7,500 tickets.
I wanted to. Go
He's
ahead.
Canadian? No.
He's not. He's American, but his managers are from Toronto.
Okay.
So
I don't know why that name is.
It's like an unofficial hometown show.
Okay.
It's big. I mean, he did that song with Justin Bieber and
That's
Daniel
why I know
Caesar.
the name. There you go.
Because
Daniel Caesar's a Canadian.
Huge. Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
I want to ask, when you guys have back-to-back or triple shows, do you know ahead of time that you're going to have back-to-back or triple shows? Or is it like the first one sold out so quickly, hey, get on the phone, can we do another one right away?
There's a lot of times where you have a strong feeling that you're going to get to 2 shows. In that instance, we knew we would be 3. We had the 3 shows cleared and ready to go.
Okay.
Built. It was
so I'm like it's just sold out. How do you already have approval that class? I'm like, it has to be.
Yeah, totally. I mean, there's some times when, it's just quick thinking and something goes up and you're like, oh,
okay, let's
shit, we got to get, is the next day or the day before available? Can we squeeze a second show in? When
you're kind of, I guess, deciding that or looking at an artist, do you use other shows in, I guess, New York, Chicago, Boston to kind of guess or kind of just roughly get an idea on how many tickets you're going to sell? Or is it, hey, this is how it did last time in Toronto? Or is it a combination of things?
It's a combination of things. I think when I look at a show, we're looking at a whole bunch of different stuff. We're looking at what their streaming numbers are like, what's their past history in the market. What we're really doing is the artist is a commodity, and we establish a value for that commodity within the market, and we try and make an educated guess on what the value is going to be on the next play, how many tickets we can sell, at what price we can sell them for, what's the business cost to get them here, and can the artist make money by playing this show, and can they make more money by playing for me than they can by playing for somebody else?
Yeah, that's true.
So that's the real thing on the local level, and obviously our touring stuff is a lot more intricate and scaled differently. But
what's your favorite part about the job?
That's a good one, George.
Oh,
well, you seem like you like everything you do, and you really enjoy it.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah. But is there one single thing that brings you the most joy to go into work and do every day?
I think it's the small shows. I think you guys were talking with Jamie about those like small rooms and loving those like 300 cap shows. I think that's where the most I find I'm most rewarded. Like finding an artist, believing in an artist that maybe like the public doesn't even know about, and being like, I'm gonna take a bet on this artist that they're gonna be worth 100, 200, 300 tickets. And they're at this phase where like the people who are coming are like really fans. There's really no one casually goes to the Drake Underground to see a show. Like, you go because you know what's going on. Like, you know that artist, you want to see them, you're on the tip. I think those ones are the best. Like, that's what I'm most passionate about. I think it's really exciting to do a Bud stage show. It's really excited to be in Scotiabank Arena and walking around and like seeing, you know, them chalk the floor and them hang the production and the riggers putting everything in place, and the like, you know, dozens of people running around putting everything up. But it's just different. You know, there's a real energy to like finding those artists before anybody else, connecting with them, bringing them in, doing that show. That's, I think, the most rewarding for me. That's what I like the most.
Do you, when you said about like finding them before, would you work a lot with record labels to find those people, or do you work mostly with like the booking agents, stuff like that? It
depends. Like, you know, you have various relationships with different people. For the most part, like my previous assistant, Alex Simpson, she worked with me for like 7 years. When we first started booking shows, you had to kind of carve your own lane within Live Nation, because everybody kind of has their own relationship. So we spent a lot of time like reading the trades, the celebrity access. I forget what it was called, but basically like every Tuesday or Wednesday they posted this thing, and it was like all the new agent signings. And we would like run down the list. We would listen to all the music, and we'd be like, we like this act, we don't like this act, we like this act, we don't like that act, we like that agent, you know, don't know who the artist is, but we know them, so let's hit them up. So that's really how we started going about it, was like using our ears and being like, I really like this act. Like Georgia Smith was an act, and it's like probably my most memorable show. I must have called the agent off of Celebrity Access, seeing Joe Hadley signed her. I must have called him 100 times to get the show. Yeah. And it was like, she's not coming to the US, she's not coming to Canada, she's going to stay in the UK, not going to do it. And then he called me and he's like, hey, how about that Georgia show? And I'm like, yes, let's do it. And we did it at Velvet, sold out right away. She had just had that song with Drake on his album, which was huge. And we're hanging outside stage at the show. We're like, is he going to come? Is he not going to come? And we're in Velvet. There's not really much room backstage. And he shows up, and he stands there like the entire show, stuck in a corner, and his bodyguards are just like eyeing us down. We're kind of like shrugged to the side, like trying to stay away from him. And he's not going to go on. And then finally he just like asks for a mic and goes up and performs with her at the Velvet Underground. And that's one of those moments where like, I'm promoting this artist in this 300 cap room. Everybody knows every song. I worked my ass off to get the show. This is like, for me, like that's what it's all about, you know? Like,
yeah. Those cool moments, yeah.
That's a special one for sure.
I was like, this is what I live for, kind of moment.
100%.
You get a few of those every now and then, I'm guessing, that where you just kind of stop and like kind of pat yourself on the back and be like, oh, that was really, really cool. Like not like maybe not in a, you know, like a
no, that,
but
like,
yeah.
I think yeah,
Like
some
mom
of
would
those
be proud.
100%.
Well, that too, but
Yeah,
also like, well, I
100%.
did this thing, like, you know, it helps our brand, it helps the team, it helps this. Because your assistant probably who was doing that with you, is probably like, wow, this is like very cool to see how that can be too.
Yeah.
And then the next generation of people that, or the people that are coming up and working, you know, directly for someone like yourself, they're like, wow, this is crazy. This can happen in this business. And then people get more motivated, and it kind of fosters that culture of, you know.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much of it. There's special moments like that don't happen super frequently, but you know when you're in one. Like,
Yeah.
you know when you're having one, you get goosebumps, like, for real. And I think everybody around you gets charged off of it. You know, and the office is just like a buzz the next day, like that something like that happened. And it all lends to the story and the culture. And like, all these people work on these shows. Like, I book the artists, I manage the event, but again, it's like a huge team of people.
Everybody has
it's
a
a
piece to
small
play,
team
yeah.
of people, but it's like it's a real community effort. There's, like I said, there's a marketer, there's a ticketer, there's a production manager, there's an accountant, there's a contracts person pouring through every line of like some shitty contract to make sure that some agent's not like stuffing something in there. And, you know, without them, none of these things happen. Like, you know, we get to show up and it looks cool, but they're the ones doing all the big work to make it happen.
That's awesome. That's really cool.
And I think that's a good note to end on. Unless you got anything else.
I don't got anything else.
Oh, that was a good one. Because, you know, it's one of those feel-good moments, right? Like, yeah.
Rick's a big feels
Nah,
guy.
I'm like,
Big
no, like,
feels
it's a
guy.
feel-good moment.
Yeah.
Thanks, Rick. We didn't realize.
No, because when you was telling that story, like, you know, those kind of give yourself a pat on the back. When we did Avicii, me and Moretti, I remember we went upstairs to Mansion, and upstairs technically was open because for like capacity issues we needed it to be, but there was 0 people up there.
Mm-hmm.
0. Everybody was literally right in front of the stage. And me and Moretti just happened to both go up there at the same time, and we both looked down, kind of just looked at each other like, yeah, we fucking did this.
Yeah, totally.
We literally knew fucking nothing. We had no idea what we were doing. But we looked at each other like, every single person here is having so much fucking fun. And we did that. You know, like
100%.
one of those moments. That's what I thought.
Those feel so good. And it's not even just those like big shows. There could be a show where a million things went wrong. Like literally
Avicii.
one thing after another can go
Power?
wrong, and it still happens. And you're like, all of these people showed up and they are having the best time, and they don't know any of the shit that happened to do
felt
the
like,
show.
like all the
Like
fires
if
that
they
you had to put out.
if they even knew half of what happened, it would blow their mind. But, you know, they get to walk into the show and enjoy it and have drinks, and, you know, all those moments are so special. That's what makes the live industry so amazing to be a part of.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. Good luck with everything else you're doing. Good luck with history.
Thank you
Wish
so much.
Many years of success.
Thanks for having me.
And looking forward to seeing where this chapter
We
goes.
got to get
And
you
it
guys
goes-
out to more shows.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
George, let's go.
I haven't been. Yeah, I haven't been out yet. I've
Oh, you
actually
gotta
been
come.
invited, so I appreciate. Or I don't know, probably came from you, but
Yeah, of
Rick told me to
course.
come out. It just didn't end up working out, but
We'll figure
Yeah.
it out.
I have a couple this summer. I don't know which one. I can't remember which ones they
the
are.
next
I
time
think
you
Kid Leroy, I have
go,
one.
assuming I'm not away, I'm away in August, but
Yeah,
There's
Kid Leroy's
so-
August,
there's so many.
August
what did you
6th
say?
or-
Kid Leroy is?
August
It's
6th?
August 6, 7, or 7, 8.
I think it's in my calendar for
I
the
only know
6th.
is the one song with Bieber, and it's so that song is hype. I
The
would go
shows are
just
gonna
for
be crazy. There's
yeah.
only like 15 days from September to January 1st that there isn't a show.
Come on.
So you can come out anytime.
You know what? I'm gonna take a look at the calendar tonight and kind of see.
Yeah.
I'll
I
take a
think there was
look.
Duke Dumont coming up. Or
Oh,
did that already happen?
when?
No, August 18th.
I think we're busy. Or no, I'm
He
busy.
Duke Dumont.
Yeah, I'm in.
This is
Thunder
one of
Bay.
my favorite. Duke Dumont. I liked, and I remember finding out about him early on.
Yeah.
Yeah, Duke Dumont. The 18th, I'm gone.
Yeah.
I leave on the 7th. I could have told you that. I need a calendar to tell me that. Duke Dumont was like big coming out with like Ocean. I think it was Ocean Drive, and there's a few other ones.
Oh yeah, totally.
Like summer bangers, and that we saw him at Lollapalooza summer of 2014, I think. Whenever that was, the first time we went to Lolla. One of the best sets I've ever seen. It was like dusk. It was hot. It was so good. And then for a while after that, I like didn't see him on many like shows or whatever. And maybe I just wasn't looking hard enough. But Yeah, since then I've been kind of looking to see him live, and I still haven't since then.
Mine was again same thing with that, but I got big on him, and he did a set with Gorgon City at Cafe Mambo in Ibiza, and it was like one of my COVID playlists I would listen to. And you guys had Gorgon City already, right?
It was crazy.
Yeah.
Damn, I really got to get on these events, man. I'm slacking out here.
Oh, big time.
Yeah, I got to pull
so
the
much
He'll give you the tour, and then you can watch the sky go backflip.
There's so much stuff coming.
The way he told it was perfect.
Yeah,
like
it was so wild.
Rick, you seen the venue? I was like, I was here last time, I was kind of drunk, and this time I was sober, and I think I went with like Alyssa or something. And he's like, yeah, let me give you a tour. I was like, sick. And then that happened. It was just fucking perfect.
Yeah.
And then that's Ali was there that same night too. Ali from Universal.
Oh yeah. We'll get on some events. We'll get, especially in the fall too.
I'll send you the calendar.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a big calendar guy.
Yeah, big calendar. Mark, if people want to find out more about you, what you're doing, where can they go? How can they find you?
Oh my God.
I feel like you're like, send me an email kind of guy.
Yeah. Shoot me an email. I'm on all the socials. Mark W.S. Russell. No TikTok, unfortunately. I'm easy to find.
You know what?
Easy
Just
to get
go to
a hold
History.
of,
You'll find him at History.
I'm at History almost every night. So if you need me, I'm there.
Are you there tonight?
No, not
tonight's
there
the night off, eh?
Yeah, tonight's the night off.
And you're with the pals.
Tomorrow night's Mike. Who's like a ex-baseball player. And then
he's big in the college scene, isn't he?
Big, like
massive.
It's big. I didn't have any.
Because I heard his name from
who? Marcus Stroman's
Mike
buddy.
Period.
Yeah, Mike Period. That's yeah.
Isn't the guy who's
just Mike?
Marcus
Just
Stroman.
Mike. Yeah.
But he used to be Mike something.
He's a baseball player, like a real pro baseball player.
He used to be called. He used to have a different name.
No, I think
that's the real name, Mike. Mike.
No, Mike. Yeah, but Mike something.
Are you thinking Mike Posner?
No.
Mike Stud.
Mike Stud. That's it.
Yeah, he's Marcus Stroman's buddy.
Yeah.
He should have gone by Mike Stud. He's just Mike. Period.
That's what I mean. He changed it. I think he got. Because Stroman was on a song with him, I think, back in like 2015 when the Jays were out. Oh, cool.
So we go Mike, and then we go 2 nights at 2 friends, which is crazy.
July 1st, July 2nd, right?
No, June 30th, July 1st, and then we go Tea Party and Moist on the 2nd, and then
maybe I'll come for one of the 2 friends.
Yeah, 2 friends. You came to the last 2 friend show.
Yeah, man. Mash up bangers.
Yeah, well, yeah, maybe.
I think where was the last one? Was it Phoenix?
At the Phoenix.
Yeah. Me and Tony Ayala came.
Was it me and Toma?
Yeah, 2 friends in Matoma.
Was great.
It was so good.
2 friends
so
just
wild.
mash up bang. Do you know who they are? 2 friends? Yeah, there's just mashups all night. Can't wait. Anyways, Mark, this was a pleasure. Glad we got to finally do this. And we'll see you soon.
Super excited.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on.
Cheers, guys.